So most of us worship a demon that we aren't 100% cognizant or aware that we are, in fact, worshiping. And it is invited. It's an energy that's invited. It's an energy that's called upon. When we think that we're calling out for God, when we think that Santa Claus is still a murky prospect, possibility, when we live in a concrete world of absolutes only for ourselves that the child's ego demands, and that this demand is going to be 100% destroyed by an edict, an authoritarian figure that doesn't really exist upon further review when we get older. There is a challenge toward the divine or the sacred. The sacred is in us all, upon birth and before that. There's a very sick and sadistic methodology that occurs where there's the destruction of the divine within each person, within each codified system that defines a person. Those variants, those number variants that are being suspended here. So where the demons come in is that whether or not they are all disincarnate, that is, once had a body, once were a human being or something on some from some planetary aspect where they had a metabolism or respiration of sorts, that or a carnal body as compared to the I don't want to say spiritual, I don't want to say codified. It's this liminal place in between machine and metaphysics that can only be scrutinized and looked at under the ontological, perspicacious perspective, intrinsic and extrinsic modalities, that there must be causality placed. So you go through a checklist, where you're looking at why, and the why seems to be this myriad of, there's just a multiplicity that exists there, where you feel like there's no way that you can get back to the factor or find the factor. And with EPL, Esoteric Principles of Light, it's all about identifying principles, why anti-principle is being used, and what the main factor is, which is a destruction of the divine, which is the destruction of the purity and purification within you. That is the fountain of youth. It's perpetual life. There is no death there. There is no doubt there. There is no mirror there, So you get into these conceptual viewpoints of the black mirror. The black mirror is in our minds. The pornography ends up in your mind. The advertising that is pornography ends up in your mind. The dripping of a water drop down your skin is the experience is polluted. In your subconscious, you will never get back the divine, pure experience of something that seems so mundane and simple. And so we go on to these, what we assume is these hierarchical plateaus in society, but they're all just made up. From the laws to the civic arms to the corporations to the separation of church and state, or the separation of state and corporation. It is a defilement of Metatron's cube. It is defiling, insulting, and outright humiliating the divine aspects that are within you that really are who you are. So it's an assault on your development.